Hi. In this video, let us discuss about how to take input interactively from the user that could be used for doing some processing in the program in Java program. So here we discuss the details of the constructs that we are going to use and the corresponding syntax. So if you want to interactively take the input from the user, if you want to take the interactive input from the user, then there are the two methods are most widely used. So one such method is by using the inout package. So the inout package is basically a package that is in the Java particular class. We can mention the particular class. Otherwise, we can use the asterisk to represent, to include all the details related to the inout package for our program. Yes. So by using the import statement, we declare the inout package, that use of inout package in our program. Then, so the syntax is quite simple here. So the syntax what we use here is, so we specify the class and followed by an object for a class, then equal to, then we need to allocate a memory area. So memory allocation construct, and also this class whatever you're going to use, it's basically it will be having a constructor, and we need to pass a value for the constructor. We need to initialize the class, and that's the basic syntax. Then in order to make use of it, what we do, we use a class, very particularly a class called data input stream from the IO package. So this IO package, it consists of this data input stream class, and we use an object here called in as an object here. So the data input stream is a class and in is an object, then equal to, so this object is of type data input stream, so we need to allocate a memory area. So by using a new operator, the memory area has been allocated here. Then if you once you do it, then what we do, we specify the constructor. So constructor is basically uses the same class name. So we use no data input stream, and within bracket as per the requirement of the constructor, so we pass an object here. So this object is again by using the class called system, and the object is called in. So by passing this input, now we enable the system to receive input into the program. And also while writing the program for interactively receiving the input from the user, it's also primarily important that we use the exception handling statements, because the exception handling mechanism will help us to handle the unexpected exceptions that we are going to receive while getting the input or while executing the program. So the exception handling mechanism, what it will do, it will hit the problem, and it will throw the exception, and it will catch the exception, and also it will handle the exception. So by using the try and catch method, we handle the exceptions. Yes. So once you receive the correct input, then what we have to do, then we need to convert, because the Java deals everything in terms of a string. So we need to convert that whatever the input that we are getting into a number, into a proper value. So it may be an integer or float. So this decoding of the number from a string is called as a parsing. So we use parsing methods for getting the values for us, whether it's an input integer or it's going to be a float number, whatever. And even for this, we follow one a simple syntax over here. So what we do need to do, we should have a target variable, then we put equal to and a class, then the dot operator, then the method related to that class. And yeah, then what is the class that we are going to use? This class, whatever that we are going to use, it's defined in the java.lang package, which is not defined here, but by default it's going to be used java.lang package. And yeah, now here coming to the target side, it's going to be a variable of our interest. If it's going to be an integer, it's going to be an integer type variable. Then equal to, and in Java lang package, there is a class called integer, and in integer there is a method called parse int. Parse int. So by specifying a class name called integer and dot then parse int, then parse int is having a requirement that it is you're reading the line by using the read line method through this object in. So object is nothing but this in what we have used here for the data input stream. So using this in object, we use this method read line method. So this will help us to get an integer value from a string. And the next one is if you're interested in getting a float value. No float value, what you can do, we can specify a float variable, and also there is a class called float in java.lang package, and by accessing the pass float member of a float class by using the read line method of a data input stream object, we can convert the string into a float value. So this is what basically we need to do. So once again, if you summarize, if we look into it, so we use the inode package here, and also we use the exception handling mechanisms, and also we convert the values into from a string to a correct valid value. Okay, so now let's see how to write a program based on this requirement. So we have program here. So this is again, it's simulated using BlueJ, and here I have a class called interactive. So this interactive class will help us to get the detail from the user. So now here you can see that. So it's my practice always to represent a package what I'm going to use. So I use a lang package, and the classes, all the classes in the lang could be possibly used. So I use the asterisk over here. Then in the next import statement, I specify the data input stream package and its class, which is defined in a package IO. So that's what we have seen in the slide as well. Then a class is written and the name of the class is called interactive. So the interactive is the class name, and since we are going to use only one class, the main method will be placed inside this class. So main is a method and it is taking a string arguments and does not return anything. It's a static, and also it is a public, which is accessible by any type of functions or any type of classes. Then here, if you look into it here, the same statement what we have discussed in the PowerPoint slide as a syntax. Now the program is written here, where data input stream is a class and in is an object and new is an operator that is used to allocate a memory area for this object. And by the data input stream, my system.n is basically a constructor that we are going to use. And the next one, I'm going to use two number. One is called integer, another one is called a float. So I call it as a num1 and num2. Num is going to be of type integer, num2 is of type float. So in Java, whenever you use a float number, at the end we have to append f to it, because by default all the decimal representations are considered to be a double. Yes, so that part is over. In the next part, from here to here, we have written an exception handling mechanism over here. So particularly a try block is defined here. So we take the input, until we take the input, we keep everything into a try block over here. So by using as a display output statement, we print it on the screen, enter an integer. So this will display prompt the user to enter the integer value on the screen. So once this is input is given here, then what we do, we use the parse method. It's a very important thing. The parse method, which is defined in the integer class by accessing the read line method for the in object. So this will help us to this entire thing. This will help us to get the valid integer value from the given string, and that will be loaded onto the num variable. Number is basically an integer variable. Similarly, when you look into it, here we have another statement here, which will expect the user to type the float values here. So it will prompt on the screen by displaying enter and float here. Then what we do by using the float class and accessing the parts float, we convert the string into a float valid float number, and that will be loaded onto num2 over here. Yes, that's about the try. So whenever you use a try, there must be an associated catch block as well. So we use a catch block with an argument where an object of type exception is being used, and within the pair of curly braces, we can specify what are the kind of details that you want to represent. How do you want to handle your exceptions also? Okay, so that is with the catch block. That's about exception handling. Next, to see the output on the screen, we use the printout statement here. That is a output statement. So system out.println. So we specify the given integer number is equal to the number what we have got it from here by passing from the string. And similarly, we get number 2 by passing the float from the string. So at the end of the program, you'll be able to see whatever the number 1 and number 2 it was decoded, that will be displayed on the screen as well. So now I'll compile this program. So as I compile this program, if there is any error, it will be displayed over here. If there is no error, we will close this window and we'll come to our class and right click on the class and select the void main string arguments over here. Then it will ask you to select the method, what method, a main method I'm going to use. So I select the main method over here. So once as soon as I select the main method, it is prompting on the screen, enter an integer. And now I enter the integer. So here I enter the integer. If you want to make it small also, you can make this windows small so that we can handle our screen. So I just make it very quite small. And now I just enter an integer value. Let me say it is 56 as the integer value. So that is well taken here, and enter in float value. I'll give something like 23 e power minus 5. I'll enter, and it will take it as a float number, and that will be displayed on the screen as a float number, 2.3 into e power minus 4. So this is how we take the input from the user, and once the input value is taken and it's not passed, then you can use it for your own application. Whatever the kind of operation that you want to do it related to it, you can very well do it. Okay, thank you.